But I think at the local level, we have to be like the racist Republicans in the South, where for a long time, they always stayed true Dixiecrats at the local level, even after George Wallace, but they would vote for Reagan and the Republicans at the national level to defeat their national enemies. And so I'm saying, which is us. So my point is, I think we have to have a two-tiered strategy. I think blacks, where we can afford to hurt the Democrats, should hurt the Democrats in independent party efforts everywhere, in America, in Brooklyn, in Queens. Wherever we can hurt the Democrats, we should challenge them and create local parties. I think the Black Panther Party really should have, when they finally ran for office in '73, should have done it as Black Panther Party members and instead of as Democrats, and then created a party here in Oakland only for Oakland, not to be reproduced all over America, just an Oakland Black Panther Party only, and run it as a political party like the two major parties on issues only, local and statewide. You can make policy statements about other things going on, but keep your focus local and demonstrate to other cities like Detroit, New York, everywhere, here's how you can have a black political party at the local level and be successful or competitive. But we don't have that example. But Maurice, that's where we got off track. Our mothers and fathers, your mother and my father, your mother and my mother, their generation, they had their own parties. That's what the Loudoun County Freedom Organization was. Study the Loudoun County Freedom Organization in Alabama with SNCC, and you'll understand that even the Black Panthers in Oakland, where I am, they got their name Black Panther from the Black Party in Alabama. The Panthers didn't make up Black Panther Party. That ain't no West Coast, LA, Cali thing. That's an Alabama thing. The Black Panther is Alabama, not Cali. Get it right, black people, so you know your history. The Panthers stole that name, borrowed it. In fact, they took the name Deacons of Defense. They took the name Defense from the Deacons of Defense in Louisiana. So, and where Huey Newton is from, Monroe. So the Black Panther Party, borrowing from Alabama and Louisiana, put the name together, called themselves the Black Panther Party, and everybody forgot that black people had a party in Alabama. And then they created another one in Mississippi with Fannie Lou Hamer and one of the greatest women to ever live, Ella Baker, the mother of Black Power. They created a party in Mississippi, like I said, our ancestors did with the Republicans in the 1800s. When they realized the Democrats in Mississippi were too racist, they created the Mississippi Freedom Democratic Party and ran against the Democrats and won in '64 and got robbed by LBJ. My point is, our ancestors, your mother and my mother, were further along politically than you and I are, Maurice. Think about that. Our mothers had reached a level of political maturity in the '60s. In terms of understanding what must be done beyond protesting and marching and saying, treat us right or I have a dream. We got to institutionalize our movements and localize them. You can't keep marching Black Lives Matter forever. At some point, you got to locate yourself and do the work. And that's what our mothers did when they created the Loudoun County Freedom Organization in 1960. I think it was about 60. And the Mississippi Freedom Democratic Party. Those were two black parties within the racist Democratic Party, challenging the Democrats at the local level, and sadly, Maurice, instead of us learning that and keep doing that, when Jesse ran, all we did was ran behind the Democrats, and we've been drunk with the Democrats ever since. When our ancestors were further along, and I'm not trying to shame our generation, I'm trying to help us understand that we've gone backwards. That was a giant leap forward in political maturity of black people in America. Beyond I have a dream was locating it in a political instrument like a party at the local level only. That is powerful black power. And the Panthers borrowed that. The Panthers saw this black power in Alabama. The Panthers saw this black power in terms of self-defense in Louisiana. And then they took it here in Oakland and co-opted it and adopted it and embraced it and so became associated with that we think that the Black Panther Party was about self-defense when it was about a political party in Alabama. And the Panthers in Oakland should have copied the Alabama Panthers with a party structure rather than just borrowing the animal symbol like they did. That was a misreading of the Black Panther Party. Maurice, what they did was, because in Alabama, under the law, because people were illiterate, they made them have animals to choose from for uneducated people. The Republicans are the elephant, the Democrats are the donkey, and the Loudoun County Freedom Organization chose a Black Panther. That's where it came from. because people were illiterate and they needed to be able to see the animal to choose the party. And so the Panthers borrowed that. And so when you think about, these strategies, these efforts, and moving forward, these are some of the real issues. And I think I advocate, I really would like to be quite frank with you, I would like to be a part of creating a local Black Panther Party in Oakland that is a party only, not a militant organization because after all, Maurice, a party idea only seems radical when you say Black political party. But the idea of a political party is very conservative as a thing. So when somebody wants to create a party, Maurice, it ain't revolutionary. They're actually selling out, basically saying we want into the system and we want to use this mechanism to get a piece of this system. So it's not racial separation, even if we talking it. It ain't really, because the nature of the creature of a party is to play in the game. So we need to do that at the local level. I encourage it everywhere where there are Black majorities, 30% or more, where the Republicans aren't a real threat and the Democrats dominate a district. I think Blacks should rise up to challenge those Black Democrats at the local level to get more from them and to move them ideologically in terms of police reform at the local level, dealing with prosecutors and laws. We have got to learn to focus as a Black people on prosecutors and judges. We got to go after them, not just the police. It's a large web and a large net. And at the local level, you can walk to the city hall and cuss the chief of police out. You can walk to city hall and talk to the mayor. You can walk to city hall and ask to speak to the number 2 in charge of OPD on the floor in public. You can do that at the local level in ways you can't at the national level. You can touch some of the change you can impact locally. So I encourage our people that listen to Black Men Screaming to get involved locally. And if you're not, why are you listening to us? What do you think we're doing? We just screaming to be screaming? We screaming to change. We screaming to make a difference. We screaming to get people off their backs and on their posts making change. We are doing this because we love Black people and we love people, all people. But we want Black people, like Mos Def said, to be free. I want my people to be free, to be free, to be free.